warm welcome to the Newsbeat coming to you from Gringotts TV. Our top stories at this time. Migrant children face removal as Trump pushes mass deportation efforts. And Germany's next chancellor seeks to produce US dependence in Europe. M23 rebels are accused of raping and executing children in Eastern Congo conflict. Lassa fever death toll rises as Nigeria records 80 fatalities in 1 week. And Manchester United is set to cut up 200 jobs amid financial losses. We have details of that in a moment. The Trump administration has directed immigration agents to track down hundreds of migrant children who entered the United States without their parents. Expanding the president's mass deportation efforts, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement memo outlined an unprecedented push to target migrant children who cross the border illegally as unaccompanied minors. Records show that more than 600,000 immigrant children have crossed the U.S.-Mexico border without a parent or a legal guardian since 2019. Tens of thousands have already been issued deportation orders, including more than 31,000 who missed court hearings. However, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the ICE is yet to respond to a request for comment about the memo and Trump's administration plans. And Germany's next Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, will begin coalition negotiations on Monday after his after his conservative bloc emerged victorious in the national election. The vote saw a surge in support for far-right and far-left parties, reflecting widespread voter discontent. With no prior government experience, Merz is said to face challenges of leading the Europe's largest economy amid uncertainties and complex security challenges involving the US, Russia, and China. In a post-election statement, Merz also took aim at the US after his win, criticizing what he called outrageous remarks from Washington during the campaign, comparing them to Russian interference. He says that his priority is to strengthen Europe as quickly as possible to assert greater independence from the United States.
Die Welt da draußen wartet nicht auf uns und sie wartet auch nicht auf langatmige Koalitionsgespräche und Verhandlungen. Wir müssen jetzt wieder schnell handlungsfähig werden, damit wir im Inneren das Richtige tun können, dass wir in Europa wieder präsent sind, dass auf der Welt wahrgenommen wird, Deutschland wird wieder zuverlässig regiert.
Schrammt knapp an der 20%.
Wir haben ein historisches Ergebnis eingefahren. Wir waren noch nie stärker im Bund. Wir sind zweitstärkste Kraft geworden als Alternative für Deutschland und wir haben uns als Volkspartei nun fest verankert.
And more than 7,000 people have been killed in ongoing clashes in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, since January, according to Prime Minister Judith Suminwa speaking at a high-level Human Rights Council meeting in Geneva. Around 3,000 deaths occurred in Goma alone, while 450,000 people were left without shelter after the destruction of 90 displacement camps. The M23 rebel groups, which accuses Kinshasa of Rwanda's backing, has seized large parts of eastern Congo, including the cities of Goma and Bukavu, along with key mineral-rich areas. While the United Nations and Western powers have accused Rwanda of providing military support to M23, Kigali denies any involvement. Suminwa called for urgent global action, urging dissuasive sanctions against Rwanda as the humanitarian crisis worsens. And still on security matters in the DRC, the conflict in eastern Congo has escalated, with children increasingly caught in the crossfire. As the M23 rebels pushed forward, among the victims was the 10-year-old boy shot in the head at the Congolese military, and they failed to comment on the incident, and the independent verification remains difficult due to ongoing hostilities. The United Nations has warned of rising child abductions, forced recruitment, and executions of M23 as it expands its control over the region. A military prosecutor has accused retreating Congolese soldiers of committing crimes including rape and murder in the Bukavu, the region's second-largest city. UN officials reported that M23 fighters executed 3 children who were found holding weapons abandoned by fleeing troops. M23, however, has denied the allegations.
Le conflit a provoqué, entre autres, la mort de plus de 7000 compatriotes, dont plus de 2500 corps enterrés sans être identifiés et plus de 1500 corps traînent encore dans les morgues. Plus de 215 cas de choléra identifiés et plusieurs cas de Mpox non pris en charge avec risque d'expansion. La destruction de plus de 90 sites, 90 sites d'accueil des déplacés internes, des attaques contre les hôpitaux et entrepôts humanitaires. Plus de 450 000 personnes, selon l'ONU, sont sans abri, nourriture et eau. Il m'est impossible de vous décrire les cris et les larmes de millions de victimes de ce conflit. Femmes, filles violées, enfants en relais de force, déplacés et orphelins.
And yesterday, more than a dozen Western leaders gathered in Ukraine to mark the 3rd anniversary of the war with Russia, pledging additional military aid in a strong display of solidarity. The president highlighted growing concerns over the U.S. commitment to Kyiv as President Donald Trump's administration signals a shift in the approach. Now entering its 4th year, the war is at a critical juncture, with Trump pushing for peace deal while adopting a more friendly stance towards Russian President Vladimir Putin. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen emphasized that authoritarian regimes worldwide are closely watching whether violations of international borders go unpunished or are met with deterrence. While Ukraine hosted high-level European officials in a show of unity, top U.S. representatives were notably absent, underscoring Washington's evolving stance on Trump. The conflict, now the deadliest war in Europe in more than 70 years, continues to remain at the center of international security discussions.
Sorry. Don't push now. Really glad to time in on the train since the past 3 years.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Minister. Hello. How are you? Pleasure to see you again. Hey, you can see it. Unfortunately, not very good
And the controversial U.S. proposal requiring Ukraine to hand over $500 billion in profits from its rare earth minerals as compensation for wartime assistance has been withdrawn. According to President Volodymyr Zelensky, speaking at a government forum in Kyiv, marking the 3rd anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion, Zelensky indicated that a revised agreement, which excludes a financial demand, is now being negotiated after rejecting a draft deal that sought success to Ukraine's valuable mineral resources. Zelensky warned that treating military aid as a debt to be repaid could set a dangerous precedent, potentially obligating Ukraine to reimburse all its international supporters. He made it clear that Ukraine does not recognize such financial obligations and that repayment terms will not be included in the agreement. While details on the ongoing negotiations remain undisclosed, Ukraine continues to emphasize the need for security guarantees to prevent future Russian aggression.
І тому я маю прагматичний підхід до наших відносин з сьогоднішньою адміністрацією і буду продовжувати саме так, але безумовно я би не назвав ці слова в мою адресу від президента Трампа компліментами, м'яко кажучи. Я розумію це так, але для чого ображатись? Ображався би на слово диктатор той, хто є диктатор. А так я це сприймаю як, ну що ж, зробиш. І я не збираюсь визнавати 500. Хто б що не говорив, як би ми не спілкувались. При всій повазі, ще раз, при всій повазі до партнерів, але,
When Newsbeat returns, Trump and Maine governor clash over transgender athletes law. We have more details of that in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Newsbeat, coming to you from Green Growth TV. And on more Trump news, President Donald Trump and Maine Governor Janet Mills faced off at a White House meeting over Trump's threat to withhold federal funding from the state due to its policy allowing transgender athletes to compete in girls' and women's sports. Speaking to a bipartisan group of governors, Trump highlighted his recent executive order banning transgender athletes from participating in women's sports and pressed Mills on Maine's compliance. When the governor objected, Trump warned that the state risks losing federal funds if it did not adhere to the directive. Mills pushed back, asserting that Maine would follow the law, indicating that the matter could end up in court. Trump dismissed his stance, suggesting that defying the order could impact a political future. The executive order has sparked sharp debates with supporters, arguing that it ensures fairness in women's sports, while critics claim it infringes on the rights of transgender athletes.
2 weeks ago, I signed an executive order banning men from playing in women's sports. Many Democrats are fighting me on that. I hope you continue, because you'll never win another race. And it's just crazy. The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it, because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state. Good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
On to health matters now. Nigeria has reported 80 deaths from Lassa fever within a single week, marking a significant increase in fatalities linked to the disease. According to the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, 413 confirmed cases were recorded across 11 states. The latest situation report indicated that 73% of confirmed cases originate from Ondo, Edo, and Bauchi states, with Ondo accounting for the highest proportion at 34%. The NCDC has identified delayed case presentations, poor health-seeking behavior, and high treatment costs as key challenges contributing to the crisis. While no new infections among healthcare workers were recorded this week, authorities continue to urge Nigerians to adopt preventive measures such as maintaining proper hygiene and avoiding contact with rodents to curb the spread of the virus. And reactions from Nigerians sparked as former Nigerian military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida reflected on the annulment of the 1993 presidential election, stating that he underestimated the opposition to civilian rule while and within the military hierarchy. While taking responsibility for his administration's actions, he attributed the election's annulment to Abacha's influence, noting that he had initially believed Abacha would support the transition to democracy. Revelations in his autobiography, A Journey to Service, provide further insight into the power struggles that shaped Nigeria's political history during the military era. The book prompted a range of responses from Nigerians online, with Gumsu Abacha, daughter of the late Sani Abacha, calling him a weakling on social media, which many interpret as a direct response to Babangida's claims. These discussions have highlighted the enduring sensitivity surrounding the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election and the complexities of Nigeria's political history.
Free and fair elections were held on June 12, 1993. However, the tragic irony of history remains that the administration that devised a near-perfect electoral system and conducted those near-perfect elections could not complete the process. That accident of history is most regrettable. The nation is entitled to expect my impression of regret. As the leader of the military administration, I accept full responsibility for all decisions taken under my watch.
And senior Catholic leaders have suggested that Pope Francis may consider stepping down if his health significantly worsens. Italian Cardinal Gianfranco Ravesi stated in a radio interview that the Pope could resign if his condition hindered his ability to maintain direct contact with people. Though he described Francis' health as complex but not critical, French Cardinal Jean-Marc Aveline also acknowledged the possibility of resignation, noting that precedent exists following Pope Benedict's decision to step down in 2013 due to health concerns. Despite ongoing speculation, Pope Francis has consistently dismissed rumors of his resignation. However, he previously revealed that he had submitted a signed letter of resignation to the Vatican Secretary of the State at the start of his papacy. While the Vatican has not issued any official statement on the matter, discussions about papal succession continue amid concerns of the Pope's long-term health. And in the exciting world of sports, Manchester United has announced that it will cut an additional 150 to 200 jobs as part of a broader restructuring effort aimed at getting profit. After 5 consecutive years of financial losses, this move follows the elimination of 250 positions last year and comes after British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe took a 25% stake in the club, assuming control of football operations to help revive its on-field fortunes. CEO Omar Bereda emphasized that the club cannot continue operating at a loss and is implementing cost-cutting measures to ensure long-term sustainability. As part of the overhaul, the club will stop providing free lunches for staff at Old Trafford, saving over £1 million annually, and will relocate some employees to its Carrington training facility. Executive bonuses will also be reduced and restructured to align more closely with the club's football and financial performance. On the field, Manchester United continues to struggle, finishing 8th in the Premier League last season and currently sitting in 15th place last week. The club reported a second quarter adjustment net loss of £6.2 million, and Ratcliffe's highly anticipated investment, initially welcomed by fans, seems to have lost some of its early enthusiasm due to team's disappointing performance. And Senegal is set to make history in as being the host of the Youth Olympic Games Dakar 2026, marking the first Olympic sporting event to be held on African soil. The Games will take place from October 31st to mid-November 2026, bringing together 2,700 of the world's best young athletes, aiming sports as a catalyst for transformation in Senegal and across the continent. The official motto, Africa Welcomes, Dakar Celebrates, highlights the significance of this milestone, emphasizing both hospitality and unity through sports. The Dakar 2026 organizing committee envisions the Games as an event for the entire African continent, inspiring young people with new opportunities and confidence. A total of 35 international federations are expected to participate, with 25 included sports in the competition program. Dakar 2026 is expected to serve as a blueprint for future Youth Olympic Games, while leaving a lasting impact on African sports development. And that's it on Sport News and on the News Bit at this time. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tonio Gubanjo. It's bye for now.